have kids that are about to go into college, you know, what are some ways that people can help their kids avoid student loan debt? Because that was our thing. Is we had over 40, I think it was closer to $45,000 in student loan debt between the two of us.
Like our kids went to in-state schools, very good colleges, but 4 years it was like $120,000. I'm like, 120 grand for an in-state school, not even mentioning that one of our kids wanted to go out of state, and that was $280,000 if she had went to that school out of state. And
it wasn't Ivy League, let's be very clear, but we were never going to be paying $280,000.
No way.
Welcome. This is For Better and Worth,
the podcast where we don't believe you have to sacrifice your relationship while you grow and build your net worth.
We are your hosts.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Erica Young, and we're so glad you're joining us today.
All right, y'all, let's get into it.
The For Better and Worth podcast is sponsored by American Heritage Credit Union, a not-for-profit credit union that helps you take control of your financial future.
As a member of American Heritage, you're an owner. You'll be charged fewer fees, earn more in the form of dividends on your account, and have access to lower rates on loans.
Whether your goal is to save for a down payment on a home, create an emergency fund, or build for the retirement you've always dreamed of, American Heritage has the products, resources, and solutions you need.
After all, American Heritage is for the people, not for profit. So to learn more, go to ahcu.co/for better and worth.
Hey, honey, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good.
How are you?
I am good. But we're going to talk about something that I think was a thorn in our side for several years in the beginning of our marriage.
Early years, it definitely was. And I honestly think it's a thorn in a lot of people's side, but
it is.
Knowledge is power. And that's the goal today, is to help bring knowledge to a subject that millions of people deal with on a monthly basis, I would say.
And for a long time. So as of July 1st, 2026, so we've already passed this date, but as of that date, some things have changed because of the One Beautiful Bill Act. And so this is the thing.
I don't know how beautiful it is.
I mean, yes.
It's loaded for sure.
It's packed full of stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Right. So we're specifically only talking about student loans right now. Student loans. And that was, for us, in our early years, our biggest debt. You know, we had...
I think it was our biggest debt and our biggest payment. So...
Yes.
Outside of a mortgage. Outside of a mortgage. That was our largest payment.
Do you remember how much it was per month?
Yeah, $451.21.
It sure was. Man, if we played the lotto...
$51.21 a month for years.
I've never forgotten that number. We had a car payment. We had credit cards.
I don't remember any of those payments.
Never remember any of those payments. But that student loan, never forgot it.
And I think it's crazy that you asked me that, because we paid that off like 20 plus years ago.
It was about 20, yes.
And now that I think about it, I'm like, man, that just rolls off the top of my head, because, you know, it just hung around for way too long.
Like a pet you didn't want.
Yeah, but I think, look, I know a lot of people feel different ways about student loans because the government has, stopped loan payments for a long time, and people will put their loans in forbearance, until they start working and earning income. And the government has forgiven loans, so people start to feel like, well, why do I even have to pay this? And at the end of the day, it was a loan. And we all went through, people who had student loans, we all went to the bursar's office or the financial aid office, and we signed that contract. Because I remember when I was in undergrad and I had to go to the bursar's office and sign for my student loans. And sometimes they'd be like, well, yeah, this is how much for your tuition, and there's $1,200, $1,500 left over. and that'll be returned to you. If I had known then what I know now, I'll say, no, keep that. I'll be on the struggle bus before I take that $1,200, $1,500. I'm going to be paying back for 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
But they don't tell you that. And they allow you to take that little extra. You take that little extra every year, then that little extra becomes another $5,000 or $10,000 that you end up having to pay back. And you're not thinking like it's a loan.
I did the same thing. I had more student loans than I probably needed. And that is why I was able to do some of the stuff I did, because I got a car, a brand new car, while in college, and probably paid most of
the down payment.
The payments. I don't remember nothing about the payment. But because it was after my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so I had 3 more years of college, but I actually went to school for 4 more years. It took me 5 years to get out of college. And so
now she was in engineering school, so watch your mouth. Okay.
Oh, I finished and I was good.
I'm just checking people right now. She went to engineering school, and unless you went to engineering school, don't have nothing to say about it taking my baby 5 years.
Listen, I don't care. I am not at all ashamed, because here's the deal. I took the minimum credits so that I could pass my classes. I was not trying to be, the person who was 100% committed to being out in 4 years. And it was very common in the engineering school to go longer. It really was. So I had,
it's a difficult course.
It's
difficult coursework.
Exactly. So anyway, but I got this car. If I'm not mistaken, it was after my freshman. At the very latest, it was after my sophomore year. I got this car, and I did have a summer internship, so I did have money. But that was just during the summer. And let's be very honest. What 20-year-old? Let's be very clear. What 20-year-old is actually going to save all of their monthly payments for their car in the summertime so that they have it throughout the year? No. You have all the best of intentions. And I'll bet you anything. I had it for 2 or 3 months, and I was using them student loans to pay it. Let's be clear, okay?
Yeah.
So 2 stupid things. Bought a new car. Well, it was probably 3 stupid things, right? So I was 20, bought a new car, and used student loans to pay the note. Dumb.
Right.
Just
took
dumb.
Took more loans than you actually needed.
Just dumb.
But I think the impact of the changes that are taking place with student loans today, it's going to touch a lot of people, and how much you can borrow. It's going to affect, which payment plans exist for you, as well as how much you're going to pay each month. Yeah. And we were just talking about how people always focus on the amount per month and not the total cost of something, because people want to manage their payments versus like even what we're talking about, taking that little bit of extra loan every time, every semester, every year, how it balloons the total amount. And so it's a big deal. And so you need to understand what's going on. So as you're making decisions for yourself, or if you're taking loans out for, a child, what you and your children are getting into. So
the first thing that is in this bill, or the act, the OBBA, whatever it is, the OBBA. Right, the bill that somebody thinks is beautiful. Anyway, but on this bill, one of the biggest things is the SAVE Act is coming to an end. And so what happens is, for all of these borrowers, and it is 7.5 million whose loans were put on hold during COVID 6 years ago now, and they had the benefit or the relief of not having to pay these payments, and now they're all coming due. Guess what?
They pressed the reinitiate payment button, and those payments are all coming due now.
Right. And so like a couple of years ago, there were some that had to come due, and now everybody's is coming due. And the challenge that I'm finding for a lot of people is they don't know. Nobody wants to pay it now. Like you're in a new normal. You don't know if your loan servicer is supposed to contact you, or you supposed to contact them, and they're waiting. And people don't want to make decisions until they absolutely have to.
And now you only have 90 days to make a decision on the type of payment plan that you want to put in place, because if if you don't take action now, they're going to make a decision for you by October 1st. And they're going to put you on the plan that's probably not going to be, it's going to be the highest payment plan, and it's not going to be the terms that you would probably like. So this is not one of those things that you want to procrastinate on and say, well, I'll put it off. No, it's been put off for 6 years.
Right.
Now is the time to put it to action and start understanding what it is and make some decisions about how you can manage this debt and how you want to ultimately begin to work to eliminate this debt.
So lest you think this isn't about you, we are going to get to the people who are in potentially our situation, who have kids who are graduating college and all that. But right now, for those who actually still have student loan debt, let's be very clear. You need to figure out what your repayment plan is, right? Because they're going to put you on a standard plan, which typically will pay out in 10 years. And so that's going to be obviously the most money. And maybe you want that. We want you out of debt. But what if you need some assistance? They do have a repayment assistance plan, which you need to apply for. They need proof of your income so that they can see what your payment will be. But they're not going to automatically do that. You got to be in the driver's seat of that.
Because the one tiered standard plan, that can go anywhere from 10 to 25 years. And that is based on your loan balance, not necessarily based on your income.
Right.
And so if you wait, and that's the plan that you're put on, it's like, the payment might be big and the terms might be long.
Right. And then I think you got to put yourselves in the shoes of the lender. If you do that, you'll realize they want their money now. It is not advantageous for them to put you on the repayment assistance plan where it's based on income. If you're making $50,000 and you got $50,000 in student loans and you are eligible to only pay $25 or $50 on this loan, they don't want that. They want you to be paying that $200 and $300 and $400 a month. So you got to be ahead of the game here.
Well, I think there's two things. The borrowers want their money back, but
the lending institution.
Yes, the lenders want their money back. Thank you. But they also want that interest.
They do. Oh my God.
I mean, I'm not naive to think that, well, we want our money back. We want you to pay it, as quickly as possible. Yeah. I just don't think that's a conversation that's being had. They're like, well, I guess if you prolong it and you take it from 10 years to 25 years, we'll make it do. We'll make it work. But they're collecting interest that whole time. So it's just time to be aware. And look, I don't know. I'm gonna sound like a father for real now. You gotta stop procrastinating. You can't put off what you need to do today for tomorrow because you don't feel like it, or you don't want to think about it, or you don't want to deal with it. No, you've not been dealing with it for 6 years. Get up. Get up and turn that computer on and start doing some research.
Yeah, and the best time to do it is now. Like, if there is no better time to do it. You can't do it. You can't wait till you feel like doing it. Nobody feels like looking at student loans. Period. Nobody does. So I feel like I want us to talk about kids. Like, if you have kids that are about to go into college, what are some ways that people can help their kids avoid student loan debt? Because that was our thing. Is we had over 40, I think it was closer to $45,000 in student loan debt between the two of us.
Which, in today's world, that's nothing.
Oh, for sure. Today's students have twice as much.
Yeah, right? That's nothing. I even think about the cost to go to an in-state school. Like, our kids went to in-state schools, very good colleges, but 4 years, it was like $120,000. I'm like, $120,000 for an in-state school, not even mentioning that one of our kids wanted to go out of state. And that was $280,000 if she had went to that school out of state.
And it wasn't Ivy League. Let's be very clear. Okay.
I mean, they think they're like the Ivies of the Midwest.
Right.
But
no. And I got much love for that school. It's my alma mater.
Yes.
Okay. But we were never going to be paying $280,000.
No way. So you bring up an interesting point, like talking about parents with kids that are going to school. I think it's two things that you have to be thinking about. Like, once you have a kid or have a child, you have to be thinking, like, at some point, you will probably want them to go to college. Or if you want them to go to trade school, none of that is free. Trade school isn't free, college isn't free. So I think the one thing you should be thinking about when you have children is, how are we going to do some things to fund some of their education?
Yeah.
So I think that's a now type of thing if you're having kids right now and making preparation for them.
Yeah.
So I think you can start saving, with 529s or other types of financial investment tools that you can use for education. Or, with us, we really encouraged our kids to be, good students, and we were very blessed because they didn't require a lot of motivation.
Right.
They were highly motivated in and of themselves, and we always told them that, hey, the goal was to get scholarships because we're saving for you to go to school, but we certainly would like to use that money for something else.
Right. And in order to help ensure that they did get scholarships, we did some extra things in order to make. So like, I also encourage people, get the tutors or take the classes so that they can opt out of them in college as well. But also we took them to weekend programs that would help them to qualify for certain scholarships. So you got to know the area you live in, what your child might be uniquely skilled at, even if it's a sport or something.
Tap into all your local networks and see what your kids could qualify for.
Exactly.
And that's what we did, was we pushed them down that road.
Because they didn't want it, let's be clear, they didn't want to go on those Saturdays. They did not want to do these programs when we first started it. At the end of them, they were thankful. But sometimes you have to push, encourage, or nudge your kid in the right direction, because if it weren't for some of these pushes and nudges, they might not have got the scholarships in the way that they got them.
Yeah. And I think scholarship is a big thing. And it's not easy because I think about our second child and how she wanted to go to this, real high dollar school.
Both of our kids, if you think about it, both of them wanted to go to high dollar school.
Yes. But the second one more specifically, because $280,000 to go to college. I'm like, are you going to become a physician or
right?
Like, what are we doing here? But she actually applied for 30. It was over 30 external scholarships. Like, we were researching all the scholarships. I think we were all writing essays. It seemed like she would write the essay and we would proofread them and, hey, go back, check this out. And I mean, we were talking about this. It was a process, and we had to work through it to try and get as much money as she could to go to school for free. And ultimately, at the end of the day, she got into a great school and she got a full ride scholarship. And our oldest got, I would say we paid 10%.
Yeah, she got about 90% paid for school.
Yeah, we paid 10% of her college attendance, which in my book, that is outstanding.
I think it's probably less than 10%. And the other thing that I'll say about that too is that it was the local scholarships with the university that made the difference for both of them.
Yeah.
These external ones, like the bigger companies and all the things that weren't.
Apply for them for sure.
It's a good experience, but it did come with some disappointment when the no's started coming in, because the students are pitted against all the students across the country.
Yeah.
And so that makes it challenging, and it could just be somebody's essay was just slightly better. It's very competitive out there.
I mean, I think a lot of these kids are talented, because I know our kids had 4.5 GPAs and high test scores, and that becomes very competitive, as you said. But local scholarships or university-based scholarships, they consider the kids locally, or they consider the college contingent at that time coming to their particular university, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And you and I, when we were going to college, both of us were resident advisors. Both of us reduced our college costs. Even though we didn't make all the best choices around our student loans, one of the biggest things that we did that saved...
We got free housing.
Free housing. So my housing, I'm going to guess, I don't think it was quite $10,000. That's kind of what housing is right now. But but my housing, I stayed in the dorm for 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. I was a resident advisor for, 3 years. And then the 4th year, I was a resident director. So not only was my tuition, not my tuition, but my room and board paid for, but I had a stipend per month. And so
And I think you got a meal plan too.
Oh, absolutely.
I got my
room and board. Yes.
Plus the stipend, which
you did because you were at a different school.
Yeah.
They had different parameters, but they pay you.
Yeah. So, and I remember like my tuition became manageable because like we're talking about like saving for kids or getting them to, work towards scholarships. I worked.
You did.
Because I went to school in the summer after my freshman year. I stayed at school and I worked in a factory all summer. Literally working second shift. And it did two things. One, it helped me pay my tuition off from the previous year. And it also taught me that this is why I'm going to school. Because I did not want to be doing that factory work.
Listen, you ain't trying to get your hands dirty for no 40 years.
I was like, man, this is some seconds. I was working from like 3 to 11.
And then when I met you, which was a couple of years later from when you had started school, because you were already 2 years into college when I met you.
Well, the first summer I worked in a factory. The second summer I worked in a lumber yard. And then I started working at FedEx. That's when you met me.
I met you your third summer. And so you were still doing more manual labor.
Yes.
It was packages. You know what I'm saying?
I was out there
cute
hustling.
in your uniform, though,
Right.
I say,
I was out there hustling.
I thought you was cute.
Look.
I was like, where's that uniform at?
Look, I wore that uniform to class some days because I would go to work and I would literally leave work and go to class because I was just single track mind. I was focused on doing what I needed to do. And sometimes as parents, it's okay. Force the kid to get a job.
Yeah. So, okay.
It shouldn't even be force them. Encourage them to take control of their own future and invest in themselves by going to work.
Because I feel like, it's interesting how we can reflect now and say, I wish that there were some things that we had done with our kids to kind of encourage some more independence, if you will. And that's one of them. I think having a job in college or summer internships or what have you, I mean, it doesn't hurt someone to work while in school. And I think sometimes the lack of responsibility can hurt them on the back end. So know your kid. I think that's the other thing is because I do have the belief that not every child is college bound. Absolutely. There are
And that's why I mentioned trade school.
Trade
school is not free.
Or going into the military. Sometimes students thrive in different places. You know what I mean? So know your kids so that you know what's best for them. And then, one, I think you'll help save money and you'll empower them to do what works for them.
And the GI Bill is real. So if they want to go to college, they can use the GI Bill to go, and the government will pay for them to go to college after they've committed their military service. So
there are lots of ways to make the next level for your student work. I've even advised people to do community college. Have their kid do community college for 2 years, and then they can transfer into a major university. Save tens of thousands of dollars that way, and then the whole student loan conversation is a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I think the point that we're making here is with the changes July 1st, the student loan program has radically changed. But there are options that are available to you that you have to explore if you are still taking student loans. And if you're not going to take student loans, there's other ways to approach paying for college and college education or trade school or whatever it may be that's required.
We consolidated our loans together and under some circumstances, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if that's the right thing to do or not. For us, it probably was at that time. This was a long time ago. But we were trying to simplify our life because we had subsidized, we had unsubsidized, we had
we were making multiple payments initially.
We are not trying to do all that. We just wanted to simplify our life, which is why we both of us know what that payment was, right? But if you consolidate with the federal government now, you're stuck on whatever payment plan you have. Whatever you choose, that's what it is. You can't change it. So that's one of the things that has changed as well is I think that this bill makes things a bit more inflexible for people. And so you need to be way more educated. And I'm just going to say it right now. We'll say it at the end too, but go to studentaid.gov to know your options. So I think the other thing about consolidation is just know your interest rate, because you could potentially, if you are serious about getting them paid off and you have a little wiggle room in your budget to be able to do that, you might want to refinance them outside of the federal government. Like, that might be something to consider, because sometimes those interest rates are a little bit better. That's just
I think this is another reminder of why we are so against debt.
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking about like somebody who's in this situation who has student loans and trying to figure out what is the best. This could be stressful.
Oh, it is stressful.
This can be anxiety inducing, especially if you don't have, enough income to make all the payments, and you haven't been making this payment for 5 or 6 years, and now it's like, oh man, I've got this potential big loan payment that I have to start making, and that can impact your lifestyle now even further. And so I think about like, this is why you got to do everything you can to eliminate it and deliver yourself. Deliver yourself from the debt.
That's right. That's right. Well, I think the other thing, though, one of the strategies, okay, we're talking about next level schooling, right? So grad level, or if parents are paying for their kids' schooling and they already have Parent Plus loans, sometimes companies are matching your contribution to your student loan. Or if you make a payment into your student loan, they're putting a certain amount into your 401k. So there's like a lot of new things that are coming. And I would encourage you, if you have student loans that you're paying, talk to your employer and see if they have some type of program. See if there's a benefit. Yes, because it's changing all the time. There are more and more companies that are trying to utilize this as a benefit. And if your employer is not aware of the tax advantages for them to be helping in student loans, you can help point them in the right direction, because this is a part of the bill as well, is that they can get some tax advantages as well. And
I know with the repayment assistance plan, there's loan forgiveness after 30 years, but 30 years, that's a mortgage.
Listen, okay. So I'm pretty sure I said this before on the podcast, but my mother paid for her grad school, and she was making payments. They only forgive after 20 years. Do you know that they forgave my mother $10,000 after 20 years of her making payments? So she surprised me when she told me. She told me a couple of years after. She didn't call me and say, "Oh, I'm debt free." She actually told me later when we were talking about some of the changes that were happening. She was like,
"Oh yeah, this."
She was like, "Did you know that the government paid off the rest of my student loans?" I said, "Congratulations, Mama." But she was a senior citizen at the time. Like, who wants...
That sounds so crazy.
It is.
She's a senior citizen, like, the government just paid off my $10,000. Okay. She doesn't sound like that.
I was going to say this. My mama
She doesn't sound like that. I'm just,
okay.
I'm just making... I guess that's what old people supposed to sound like. They say stuff. But I think it's just crazy that as a senior citizen, you're like, man, that loan is finally gone.
Because guess what? If you are paying for grad school, it depends on because my mother finished grad school at the age of 50.
Yeah.
And so if you're paying for grad school, or if you're paying for your kids to go to school with a Parent Plus loan, you could very well be sounding like that when you're...
by the time it's gone.
By the time it's gone.
And I'll say this. I went to grad school, and I was adamant that I wanted to go, right? Like, you remember when we started out, I was like, I'm going back to school. I'm going to get a business degree. And it was about, I don't know, it was, I had the plan, but I don't think I actually did it for like 10 years. But I had stayed committed that I'm going back. And I had worked for 10 years, and I was like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it.
Yeah.
And I worked for a company because I said, I'm not going to pay again to go to school out of my pocket.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to wait until I get with a company that will pay for me to go.
Yeah.
And then I got with a company that paid 100%.
That's amazing.
For me to go. And it was 100% reimbursement, but it was 100% reimbursement, and all I had to do was get a C or better.
And you did that.
Right.
With flying
I set a
colors.
goal that I knew I wanted a GPA of 3.5 or higher.
And you did that.
I said I didn't want to pay. And so I just literally went to MBA school. They paid for it. I mean, I paid out of pocket. Then they reimbursed us the full expense. I did my commitment there, and I walked away with a graduate degree that the company had paid for, and it cost me nothing but the time and the effort. And so there's options out there with employers that will do that same thing. So
strategically, you could find employers that actually
Yep.
pay for schooling. Even Starbucks pays for folks to go back to school.
Yeah.
So you just need to know like those ins and outs. The thing that I will say about Parent Plus loans that you must know is that there is no income-based repayment or repayment assistance for these new loans that are coming due. So my thing is this. You gotta, and they will have limitations on how much
Yeah.
you can borrow. So what I think is about to start happening is that a lot of student loans are about to be privatized because the limitations with the federal government are going to be so great that people are like, well, I can get a loan elsewhere. And
Right.
you can go to other
and
places.
private entities are going to want to tap into that because,
Absolutely,
like,
absolutely.
again, they want to earn the interest. They want to be in business making money for various reasons and ways. So.
And one thing that I will say about the private loans is that typically the interest rates are a little bit better than the government. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I have been seeing is that those interest rates are 1 or 2 percentage points less, which honestly, on thousands of dollars, it does make a difference,
Yeah.
right? So just be aware that the limitations, it's constricting. The federal government is constricting what it is that you can do in terms of your repayment plan and how much you can borrow. And you want to be an informed consumer at this point.
Yeah. I'm going to start to get into my make it worth it.
Perfect. Let's go.
Because I think as we talk about this, there's some real things to consider up front, especially if you're a parent with a child going to school, or if you're an individual yourself that's going to school. The school choice matters. You have to make a informed choice and decision about where you go. And the program matters. Because I think people go for name or prestige
Pedigree.
sometimes. And, I know I'll admit I was a bit of a school snob, but
But you went to the local school that was a good school.
I went to a commuter college.
Yeah, but it was a good school.
Yeah, it was a good school. I knew a lot of people who went to medical school there. Then I went to a much bigger school when I got my MBA. But I think it matters, and I always go back to our daughter, she wanted to go to a school that had a business school that was ranked like in the top 5. And she wound up going to a business school that was ranked in the top 10. I was like, it's negligible. There is no difference because at the end of the day, she still got like dual degrees and certificates, and she ended up, getting a great job opportunity after she completed her degree. So all of that matters. And so I say for my make it worth it is spend the time and, do the due diligence around the career path that you're seeking and the school that can help get you to that means. Because I love the fact how you talked about maybe you go to community college for a couple of years because you can fulfill all your prereqs at a much lower cost and not incur student loans. Or if you do incur student loans, you can incur much fewer student loans or much lesser amount. And so I think to make it worth it, you really have to be mindful about what you're going to do and not just happenstance or back into it. Then you look up, you're like, man, I'm not even doing anything in my degree of study and I paid all this money out that for what?
Yeah. I'm going to ditto everything that you said.
Okay.
And then just reiterate that studentaid.gov is the place to go to figure it out if you have federal student aid loans. And make sure that you are getting informed over the next couple of months because some people, they're going to have to start making payments in October or November or December. And you know,
Don't get caught slipping.
I think it's the worst time of year to start a student loan payment because, you know, the holidays are coming. But I'm just saying, if you know, then you know how you can make your adjustments. And we can get back to, you know, this is why budgeting is so important. This is why keeping all of your debt low is so important. This is why, you know, coming in front of it and helping your kids, you know, make sound decisions about their next steps in life. So because you can't expect an 18-year-old to know everything or to make good decisions.
A 22-year-old, a 25-year-old, a 30-year-old.
Their frontal lobes are not fully developed. Right. Don't leave this to them because they will take on. Our daughter even said it. She's a smart cookie, but that girl said it. She was like, I would take on student loans to go to that school. She told me that. And
we were like, no, we're not going to let you do that.
That's not wise, honey. And so they're not fully formed up here. Don't leave it to chance.
And it's interesting you say that because she was willing to take some loans on to go to this particular school. Mm-hmm. But when we helped her navigate through it and she made a different choice, she said to us, this was the best decision I ever made.
Boom.
And it has not looked back. So
my hope is that happens to everyone listening as well.
Yes.
So.
Well, this has been a good discussion.
Yes, it has.
I hope you guys take it to heart and you go and do your own due diligence and research because we're just directing you in the area that you need to go and look at.
That's right.
So,
until next time,
we're out.
Thank you for spending some of your time with us today.
We appreciate all of your support, so be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen to this podcast.
You can find us on Instagram at For Better and Worth.
And sign up to receive our free guide, The 7 Reasons Your Money Relationship Isn't Working with Your Partner, on forbetterandworth.com.
Until next time, we're out of here.